The content provided in this video and on our website is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended as, and translates to, legal advice, professional instruction, OR management direction. CamWise is not acting as your legal counsel, OR assuming liability for actions taken based on this content. For specific legal interpretations of your association's CC&RS and state laws, always consult a qualified attorney.
Welcome to This Explainer. If you live in, work with, or manage a homeowners association, you already know that the rules dictating how a neighborhood runs can sometimes feel, well, a little stuck in a time warp. But right now, in 2025, massive legislative changes are fundamentally shifting power and participation in community associations. We aren't just talking about the typical financial shifts we see every year. This new legislation is explicitly designed to modernize governance, protect your individual homeowner rights, and finally drag your community out of the past. These changes are all about making participation way easier and holding boards much more accountable. So let's get right into it. Right off the bat, we're looking at a stark contrast between outdated 1980s operations and the newly mandated modernized 2025 community. We are officially moving away from the era of easily lost paper proxies, wildly expensive litigation over minor disputes, and those overly restrictive vehicle bans. Instead, the legal landscape is shifting toward a 2025 model that focuses on secure e-voting, mandatory mediation to really protect those individual rights, and common-sense parking regulations. This is a massive strategic shift in how communities operate and mitigate their risks. Here's our agenda for today. First, we'll look at the electronic voting standard. Second, resolving disputes through mediation. Third, ending those infamous community parking wars. And finally, fourth, your immediate legal alignment action plan. Okay, starting with part one, the electronic voting standard. To put this simply, think of this shift as moving from sending snail mail to using secure online banking. For years, communities have been totally exhausted by low voter turnout, just stalling important decisions. Well, now, state lawmakers are explicitly authorizing and simplifying the whole process for HOAs to use electronic voting for major decisions. We're talking board elections, budget adoptions, and CC&R amendments. And here's the kicker. Some of these new state laws are actual mandates. That means if enough residents petition for it, the board is legally forced to adopt a digital voting option. No way around it. So, to drastically boost that voter engagement, the law outlines 3 specific steps. Step 1. You've got to adopt secure voting platforms. Step 2, use those digital platforms to reach your seasonal snowbirds who just aren't physically around for meetings. And step 3, engage those busy working professionals who literally do not have the time to attend a Tuesday night town hall. By taking these steps, you're really empowering homeowners and making participation as easy as just checking a smartphone. Moving away from those easily lost or miscounted paper proxies, the strategic shift to secure electronic systems brings some immense technical advantages. For starters, these platforms are highly convenient. Plus, they offer verified capabilities, so you know exactly who is casting a ballot. They are fully compliant with complex state regulations, and they just ensure the whole process is fair and simple. This is really all about bringing true operational excellence to your elections. The really crucial point to remember is that this isn't just about adopting shiny new technology. The real business impact here is that more votes mean decisions are far more representative. Electronic voting leads to significantly higher participation rates than those old paper and proxy methods. Ultimately, your board's decisions will finally reflect the true voice of your entire neighborhood, which builds a much stronger, more unified community. All right, moving right along to part 2, resolving disputes through mediation. Lately, the legislature has been actively working to reduce those costly, drawn-out legal battles between homeowners and their associations. In the old way, conflicts like a simple fine dispute or an architectural rejection often escalated straight into expensive litigation. But the new way acts as a sort of legal pressure valve. The law is creating clearer steps and in many cases requiring mandatory mediation before any litigation can even be pursued. It's about sitting down and actually finding a resolution, rather than immediately dragging everyone to court. Now, boards must pay very close attention here to avoid some common liability pitfalls because there is a massive financial risk at play in 2025. If a community decides to ignore these new rules and pursues frivolous legal action against a resident, they risk paying reasonable attorney's fees to a prevailing homeowner. This is especially true in recall or election disputes. Lawmakers are making a deliberate move here to put pressure on boards to act reasonably and actually follow their own rules. At its core, mediation is meant to be a powerful, lower-cost option to resolve grievances. It genuinely levels the playing field against institutional board power. By prioritizing mediation and fair hearings, conflicts can be resolved amicably way before they escalate into those financially devastating legal wars we just talked about. It's a huge win for protecting individual homeowner rights.
Okay, on to part 3. We are talking about ending community parking wars.
In a nice nod to modern lifestyles, and honestly just to save neighbors from constantly spying on each other's driveways with a tape measure, states are limiting overly restrictive rules. So here is your immediate checklist for policy updates. You need to review your current rules and regulations, check your compliance regarding pickup trucks and vans, shift your focus to actual nuisances, and absolutely stop any selective enforcement. Why? Well, because new 2025 legislation is expressly prohibiting HOAs from universally banning the parking of personal pickup trucks or standard-sized vans in driveways, as long as they aren't massive commercial rigs.
The strategic decision here really just boils down to a simple perspective shift that brings common sense and fairness back to your community's driveways. The law finally acknowledges that pickup trucks are very often just used as personal, daily family vehicles. By shifting the focus away from what kind of vehicle is that, and instead asking, is this vehicle actually creating a nuisance, you prevent selective enforcement liabilities and avoid completely unnecessary legal challenges from your neighbors. Which brings us to part 4, your immediate legal alignment action plan.
Navigating a changing legal landscape can be pretty complex, but this concise timeline outlines exactly when you need to execute these changes. It gives you a crystal clear roadmap. In Q1 of 2025, your priority should be adopting those secure e-voting capabilities. Moving right into Q2, you need to update your dispute and mediation processes to ensure you aren't risking those steep attorney fee liabilities. And finally, in Q3, conduct a thorough audit of your vehicle and parking rules to make sure they align with the new state limitations on pickup trucks and vans.
So, to summarize the whole shebang, your community must take 3 essential priority actions. Step 1, digital voting adoption. Step 2, mediation process setup. And Step 3, rules and regs parking amendment. Checking off these 3 boxes is absolutely critical. It's how you avoid legal exposure, empower your residents, and smoothly align your association with the modern lifestyle expectations of 2025.
As we wrap up this explainer, you really have to look at your own association's operations and ask yourself a tough question. Are you going to resist these legal changes and risk the severe financial consequences of a lawsuit? Or will you use these modern tools to build a stronger, fairer neighborhood? The 2025 legal standard is here, and the choice is entirely yours.